Welcome to another episode of Demystifying Gay Porn. I'm your host, IK Grande, and if you didn't know this, you know it now. In the past 12 years, if you've watched gay porn, I've definitely helped you get off. My guest this week is my boyfriend of 4 years.
That's me.
Yeah, going on 5 years. This podcast this week is going to be only on Buzzsprout and Spotify. If you like this podcast, and I hope you do, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button on Buzzsprout. On Spotify, you can also catch it on YouTube. My boyfriend is not a porn star. The reason why I'm interviewing him is I thought it'd be interesting to also bring a perspective of non-porn personalities, but people who are consumers of porn. Without further ado, I'd like everybody to meet my boyfriend, Alex.
Hello.
Thank you so much for doing this today.
No problem.
It's really cool. I'm looking forward to like doing stuff like this, and I'm also looking forward to. I want to podcast live while, there's a sex scene going on and do commentary and shit like that.
You got your mind.
I want to podcast. I do. I want to podcast with, just random strangers that I pluck out of like.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that just bring them in?
But that's you have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like it's risky.
It's fine. Risky. I mean, Come on. Sex is risky, isn't it?
That's true.
Let's talk a little bit about you. I met you how long ago at this point?
I don't know, 15 years, 18 years. Who counts?
It feels like it. Alex and I met in a
hopeless place.
Well, yeah, we met in a hopeless place, Feathers in New Jersey of all places, right? However,
shout out to Paulie.
Well, we met in a non-conventional way nowadays.
Yeah, like the original way, but it's non-conventional now.
Yeah, we met through a friend who happened to be there at the same time that I was there. I was actually going to be in Israel promoting a film that we had done that was in film festivals through Dark Alley.
What stopped you from going?
What stopped me from going was that my boss, Owen Hawk, we had talked about going. However, I never got the okay to book everything. So what ended up stopping me was I didn't have the okay. And then, a week before, he's like, "Aren't you going to Israel?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, well, why didn't you go? You could have gone." Yeah, I thought you were going to go. So, at the end of the day, I'm not. I can go to Israel any other time.
Well, it worked out well.
It worked out very well.
That was a good decision.
Yeah, it was a very good
the overall
decision.
scheme of things.
So we met in a non-conventional way. We met through a friend. We didn't meet through an app.
Not that there's anything wrong with meeting that way, but that's just not typical.
Not typical today anymore.
No.
So I figured we'd have him on. He is you are a connoisseur of porn.
I guess I am.
Okay, what kind of porn would you say you love watching?
That's difficult. I watch many different types of porn. Okay. I mean,
I might learn something new.
Probably will, because I don't really talk about this too often. Because porn is personal,
I feel like I learn something new every day.
That's good.
It is good.
Yeah,
it's
got to keep changing. I mean, I don't like the word consume. I don't consume it. I get the idea, but like, I view it. I enjoy it. I appreciate it. It's like an art, like you appreciate what makes sense to you, what you feel. Mm-hmm. I am a man who has a foot fetish, a very strong foot fetish. So a lot of the interests I have derive from that. So that's like what I look for. Mm-hmm. So that could be straight porn, could be gay porn, it could be fantasy porn. As long as like there's a foot oriented thing that pulls me in, I can totally get into it and I could probably get off from it.
Mm-hmm. Which is why, I don't know if anybody's been watching some of the stuff that I've been doing recently.
Oh, yeah.
I've been incorporating.
So nice of you.
I've been incorporating
included
foot fetish stuff because, I never really appreciated it. But there were people always asking. I always saw, we had a photographer once on set, and he would take pictures like, glamour shots and all that stuff. And then whenever we weren't looking, he would be taking foot shots.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had a foot fetish thing himself, but he knew to take those pictures. We never used them, but
it's a thing that it's weird. It's like an unspoken thing. Unfortunately, people who are into feet tend to not want to talk about it.
Why do you think that is?
I think the idea is a foot is like a dirty part of your body. It's not like clean and like And a lot of people don't want to see it.
Well, neither is your ass.
Right. I guess similar idea. It's just that most people are like, oh, like it's your foot. It probably smells bad. I don't want it near me. So to tell that same person that, oh, I actually like feet and I want them near my face or I want to touch them or whatever. It's like, oh, what's wrong with you? And I feel like that's like a stigma that goes through people's heads, you know?
Okay. So then let me ask you, what or when was the first time that you kind of were like, wow, I really like feet. I really like men's feet.
Tough. Never liked women's feet. Not that I dislike them, but they just never intrigued me in the way that men's feet did. Obviously, I'm a gay man. But when I was really, really young, like we're talking 7, 8, I have a pretty good memory of that time. And I know, like, for gym class, if I was in gym class with like the gym teacher, we would all be sitting together, like crisscross legged or whatever. And I'd be near his feet. I'd be like, oh, I would look at them. I would always compare his feet to mine. They were bigger than mine, or like, you know, I didn't know what it was. I just knew that I was interested in them, and like I would focus on them whether I wanted to or not. It's just something I'd always gravitate towards.
So
interestingly enough, just side note, I had no interest in like the male genitalia, like penises. I had no interest in them.
You can call them dicks.
Dicks, thank you.
Dicks, cocks, all that shit.
Whatever.
Everybody that's listening to this is used to
okay. So the cock. I had no real interest in it. It was like a thing, to the point where if I saw it in porn, I wouldn't even look at it. It wasn't like, I would never be focused on it. It would always be the foot. So maybe that makes me a more extreme foot fetishist or person who into feet, but like, it's strange that I realized that I was so into the one thing that I didn't even notice the other thing that is the main draw for being homosexual.
Well, yeah. So when it comes to feet, especially in the summer, every day can be like porn.
Oh my God. That's very observant of you, and I appreciate that. But yeah, so
how do you control
summer
yourself?
is hell. I don't. I'm very bad at it. Like, I feel like I'm a person who self-proclaimed does not have ADD. Like, I'm very good at focusing. When it comes to feet, that all goes out the window. I have no control over it. I go to the supermarket, I go to a store, I'm walking down the street, wherever I am, it's like I have a sixth sense that like, oh, there's a foot. I gotta look at it. I have to. But I also have like this weird upbringing thing that's like, I can't be obvious about it. I have to be as sly and
you're
as
Catholic.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I was brought up. So Roman Catholic. So it's like guilt. You have to, you feel bad for doing something because you know it's bad. You know it's wrong, but you want to do it. So that you're wanting to do it overrides your guilt for it. So you'll still do it, but you'll do it as sneakily as possible. So yeah, summer's hell because everyone wears flip flops. Everyone's like, feet are just out there and people get tan. It's horrible. It's amazing and it's horrible at the same time.
You know, you can get away with it if you want.
Get away with what?
Like, oh, hey, nice feet. Like guys
I'm not that ballsy when it comes down to it.
Yeah, but guys are cool with that. So being that you do like feet.
Yeah.
Right? And we're dating. How long until you noticed or you tried to like look at my feet?
God, it was a long time. And I'm probably unique in this, but like, it's like a terrifying thing for me because if I'm into somebody and they happen to have not so nice feet, it's like the worst deal breaker that there is because you don't even know how to explain it that well. Cause it's kind of like, oh, it's this little tiny thing about you, but it's monumental to me. And now we can't be together anymore. Like that's how extreme it is for me. So,
geez, you waited for almost a year.
I was over a year.
Jesus.
Yeah. I saw them like once or twice before that. And like, I didn't like look too carefully because I didn't want to know any details yet.
Well, luckily for me, I always thought,
no, you have very nice feet.
You have to treat your feet like gold. Oh,
yeah.
Geez.
Well, I think you would, I would hope you know that at this point.
I do.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I thought so.
So, since we're going on the subject of like foot fetish and stuff, yeah, everybody knows there's a lot of fetishes out there and stuff.
Yeah.
Were you able, like growing up, how did you like releases? What was your outlet when it came to foot fetish?
Well, like when I was really young, because like, you know, I'm in my 30s, so the internet was not as pervasive as it is now, especially for young children. So I didn't have access to content, to information in general about something I'm interested in. So I had to kind of like tactile, like feel the real world and figure it out. So when I would hang out with my friends, I would somehow try and like see their feet when we were having a sleepover or hanging out or changing for gym class, or I would like take someone's sneaker when they weren't looking and take a quick sniff, like little things like that. It sounds crazy, but
you were
like,
that creep.
Shut up with a dick. No, it's not that I was a creep. I didn't know how to process it or how to satisfy it. So I would just like try whatever I could find. I mean, that's like you're exploring.
Did you think people were going to think that was weirder than them thinking you were gay?
Actually, yeah. I thought they would, because like the gay thing, as difficult as it was, and it was very difficult for me to come out. Not difficult, I shouldn't say. Like it took me a while to be comfortable to do it. And you actually helped me with that. But the foot fetish thing was definitely an additional layer that I completely kept private from most people. Like I'd say 90% of the people I know have no idea that I have it, which is fine. I don't think everyone needs to know everything about you. And that's not like a defining characteristic of me, but it is a deep interest personally of mine. And I hold it like that. With
that being said, you were able to find groups, right? You had mentioned.
Yeah, later on. So in high school, I started getting a good feel for what was out there on the internet. Maybe a little bit earlier than that, but generally high school is when I started seeing that there were other people via forums, via
what did that feel
Yahoo
like?
Groups and stuff. I'm sorry?
What did that feel like to know that there were other people?
It was exciting. Yeah. I mean, it didn't like change my perspective, I don't think. It just made me like more interested in it. I was like, okay, I want to dive deeper. Like,
yeah, but did it make you feel like, oh wow, like I'm not crazy, I'm not weird. There's so.
I wish I could say it did. I feel like for a lot of people it does. I didn't have. It's weird. It's like a duality to it. I knew it was weird, but I knew it was okay simultaneously. I didn't have to explain it because I knew people would think it was weird, but I knew I wasn't hurting anybody. I knew there was nothing malicious about what I was into, so I could keep it private and feel okay about it. It wasn't like it's weird. It's weird that it worked that way, but I think that's what, also finding things online helped that. It fueled that because I didn't have to really worry as much, so to say. I don't know.
Interesting. Do you find that when you are online, you don't even have to look at porn? You can just look at...
Yeah. I mean, it's wonderfully efficient, actually. Yeah, it really is. Like, I could even see like a JCPenney ad for sneakers and a guy happens to be wearing sneakers a certain way. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic.
Oh, that's another thing too, is it's not just feet that you like. You like...
Oh, yeah, like gear, technically.
Yeah, so
but yeah,
describe,
sneakers and,
like
and
elaborate a little bit about what you like.
Well, I mean, the main focus is like the male foot, like athletic, clean, nice feet are like a huge turn on for me. Especially like being able to like handle them, like massage and touch and feel. But that comes with baggage. So there's things additionally that I like. So the sock that goes on the foot, the sneaker, the flip flop that goes on the foot, any aspect of that I can totally get into, and it can be its own thing, independent of the foot. Like I could totally like a sneaker, not in the same way, but it can get me there. It's like a vehicle that like gets me to the finish line.
Did you ever think maybe it's not just a foot fetish? Maybe it's, I don't know, jocks growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I had an older brother. I have an older brother, and that has to play into it because I would hang out with my brother's friends. They were always bigger and like stronger and everything compared to me. So there was definitely an interest that started from there because I noticed everything I'm into is athletic, and going to an all boys school that was very big into sports. I saw a lot of guys in a lot of athletic gear, like football gear, lacrosse gear, all that stuff at a young age. So I was very used to it, and I was intrigued by it. And I know now if I happen to see in a porn where a guy has like some lacrosse stuff on, it like is a huge escalation for me. I'm like, yeah, that's totally like, that's awesome. It totally accentuates everything. Yeah.
When you do see porn that's like foot oriented, is it abundantly available? Is it something that you have to like look for?
So there is boutique foot porn. There's boutique foot everything online, and that's been more abundant.
I want to clarify too. foot fetish is also straight porn. I've seen.
Oh yeah, I mean it goes both ways. It's completely system wide. The foot fetish thing is guys, girls, and everything in between. Everybody and everyone gets into this in one way or another if they're into it.
If it's done right too.
If it's done right, yeah.
Like if I think I'm thinking about it, and I haven't seen a lot of foot fetishy sites, and
they're there.
I know, but the possibility of it not being done right makes me want to be like, let me give that a crack. Just because you never know,
Well, there's a lot that hasn't been done because I feel like the foot fetish is like an umbrella. Below that umbrella is things you couldn't even fathom because it goes all over the place. Your mind can make anything a fantasy. Therefore, you can have a fetish form of it, a fantasy of it. But back to your point about like what porn was out there, that's something that's more recent. So when I first started looking online for porn and foot related porn, there wasn't a lot. There was definitely like groups and small forums and stuff. But now like it's like a preponderance. There's so much and everything exactly what you want, and people who all also want what you want. It's interesting and like it's awesome because like you were saying before, when you first start seeing that it's other people that are interested in the same thing you are, it like makes you feel a little better. Now it's so hyper specific that you're like, everything is possible. You could be into anything and it's okay, within reason.
There are sparks or light bulbs going on in my head.
Yeah.
I'm so many light bulbs.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because after doing porn for 12 years, gay porn especially, I watch a lot of straight porn. I don't know if a lot of people don't know, but a lot of my inspiration either comes from movies in the 90s, believe it or not. Like the other day I was talking, there's this movie called Fucking Crazy. And we put this one porn star, Dylan Anderson, who was doing a scene with Sean Duran. We put Dylan in a straitjacket, right? Because I wanted it to, when I had first gone down to the studio that Dark Alley got in Fort Lauderdale, it looked to me like there were rooms that could be in a hospital. So I said, okay, well, we're going to make a mental asylum thing. We'll call it Asylum at first, right? And then Fucking Crazy, I think, was just much better.
That's one of the best parts about porn from my perspective for you. Like being able to make the names, the puns are just, they're so much fun.
So much.
Black Hawk Down.
Black Hawk Down needs to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell Champ about that. Back to Fucking Crazy. There is a scene in there. And I was just telling Max from Treasure Island, cause he loves that scene. And I was like, thank you very much. That means a lot.
He liked your specific scene?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, apparently he's been a fan of our porn for a while.
That's interesting.
Yeah. He can't watch Treasure Island porn because it's too close to home.
Meaning what?
Well, he works on it. If you work on it, the last thing you want to do is watch it.
That's crazy, though. He's not in it. He's producing it.
Yes, but it's still work. He's still involved.
Right, but wouldn't you want to see the result?
Well, of course. You look at it from a
critique it to make sure it's like what you want,
but not to jerk off to.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he jerks off.
So you guys are like the guilty pleasure,
allegedly.
Yeah.
So yeah, he said that, and one of his favorite scenes was this scene with Sean Duran and Dylan Anderson. He's like, wow, that was really, really well shot. And I'm like, well, thank you very much. The man, which a lot of people know, he'll be on the podcast soon. He made one of the most influential gay porn movies in history, according to the Huffington Post. It was called 20 Load Weekend. Came out in 2004.
Okay.
Which is where 25th Weekend came from.
I see the correlation here.
Direct knockoff. And Matthias von Fistenberg, you know it. We did this scene. It's like in a closet, basically, right? We put the huge light coming from down. We lit it. This guy's, Dylan's in a straitjacket, and Sean Duran is an orderly.
Wow.
And he tries to feed him food, and then eventually licks his face. The licking of the face.
Wow,
and the
you
whole
get
thing.
these dirty scenes.
Well, it's from Terminator 2.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it for doing this and coming on.
You've been watching Demystifying Gay Porn. I'm your host, Ike Grande.
Demystifying Gay Porn can be found on every podcast directory as well as YouTube. Demystifying Gay Porn is on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Telegram. If you like what you're watching and want to be a part of the process, head over to patreon.com/demystifyinggayporn, where you can help this YouTube channel and I can continue making content like this. Once again, this is Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped to get off. Cheers.